But as promised, we found Matt Wilkinson coming on the desk, current number 17 in the world, 6 years on tour. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, guys.
Matty, last couple of days, can you tell us what you've been up to? The contest has been off. Have you been getting some fun serves?
Yeah, there's been actual kind of little north swell, which has been really fun on the backup beaches, and the banks are kind of fun, but hasn't been pumping. But definitely getting my feet in the wax and getting ready for when this swell hits here.
Kind of thinking about getting your feet in the wax. You sure did that up in France just recently. You had some key heats. You had that superstar battle with some of your good friends, Medina, Owen Wright. You ended up going down to John in round 5, but you had the single high wave score. That had to feel pretty good for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty good event for me. I had a few really nice heats, and even the heats that I lost, one of them I lost to Gabe, who was doing some of the craziest airs I've ever seen. It was me, him and Owen, and I don't know, that was a wild heat. Me and Owen were sitting out the back, and we saw Gabe launch off. I think he hit the section at the exact time the backwash did, and did one of the craziest puns, and we were sitting out the back and we're like, there's not much you can do about that. But yeah, I had some good heats and put some good scores on the board, and I feel like I've been a lot more consistent kind of lately, and hopefully I can just keep that going and try to get some barrels and put 2 big scores on the board each heat here.
What makes Europe so special? I mean, we talk to a lot of guys and they love coming to Europe, not just France but Portugal as well. What for you makes it special?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's kind of got a similar vibe to Oz, a little more laid back than America, and the waves here are awesome, and the food's awesome, and I think just there's so many different spots to kind of check and so much to do, and then the history over here is incredible. I had a little holiday before France and went to Italy and stuff, and just I don't know, everything's like 1,000 years old, and in Australia the oldest house is like 30 years old, and you're like, oh, this thing's going to fall down soon. But yeah.
Classic. Well, Willie, when we think about your contest results, we go back to the runner-up finish at the Coldwater. Last year you impressed us all with the semifinal at J-Bay, but thinking about your consistency this year, we just have to go back to Barra da Tijuca, that semifinal that you made in Rio de Janeiro. Your form was amazing. The waves were challenging and shifty. What was your secret at that venue?
Yeah, in the earlier heats the swell was kind of big there, and it was super tough. Everyone was kind of getting one wave and then couldn't find a backup, and me and Micro kind of found a little right down the beach that probably wasn't the best waves, but it was the most consistent, and so I just put a few heats together out there and took out a few heats, and then later in the contest I just kind of found my feet and I felt really solid on my board, and yeah, I don't know, it felt really good, and I think as the contest goes on I get more and more confident, and once I start making heats I usually kind of keep going, but so hopefully I don't get stopped too early.
You talk about that confidence. I mean, you can see it, not just on heat by heat, but wave by wave. You get that bottom turn, top turn combo going. That confidence builds. How hard was it to do that in front of all those people? There was a few crew on the beach, weren't there?
Yeah, I think if you were surfing against a Brazilian, it might have been a little bit harder, but I was surfing against Aussies in most of my heats, so yeah. I was pretty much just focusing on looking at the bottom of the wave and then the top and the bottom and the top until it was finished, and then I'd kind of hear the crowd go and be like, yes, I've done something good.
Yeah. Well, Matt, we look back at the last handful of seasons. You've kind of been finishing in the early 20s on tour, kind of right at the cutoff, where now you're 17th, a little bit safer. And you just mentioned that relationship you have with Glenn Micro Hall. You're a member of the Micro Surf Academy. Talk about your relationship when you first met Glenn, how long you've known him, and now what this coaching role is like for you.
Yeah, I've known Glenn since I was probably like 10 years old. He would have been 16 or something, 17, and him and Ace were doing the junior series, and I just started doing like under 12 little grommet comps and stuff, and so I'd looked up to him and Ace my whole life, and they were doing good in juniors, and then I was doing good in the grom comps, and then they were doing the QS and I was doing the juniors, and we kind of all moved up, and then it's super cool to all be on the CT together, and at the start of this year, Glenn's always been amazing, like at choosing waves and kind of reading lineups and I guess beating surfers that he thinks surf better than him by surfing smart heats. And so we kind of teamed up to try and I've always been pretty relaxed about my approach with with that kind of stuff. So we've kind of teamed up to try and get the best of both worlds, and I feel like it's working for sure. We've had a few big results, and even the contests that I haven't had results of, I feel like I've put pretty good heats in nearly every heat, and then if you lose and surf a good heat, it feels a lot better than completely blowing it. So it's been working for sure, and I don't know, see how it goes here.
Well, one thing Potts and I were discussing on the desk this morning, we're seeing this new focus, but it wasn't too far away when you're known as this great entertainer coming down the beach. One of our favorites was when you introduced a brand new wetsuit idea at so many different venues around the world. You had the tie-dye up in San Francisco, but when you showed up with the sardines, you almost became a member of Mayor Antonio's family. He was so excited.
The mayor is probably one of the most passionate surf fans I've ever seen, and coming down the beach with sardines, he was like the happiest person I've ever seen. He just grabbed him by the face and was like, "Yeah, Matt, you're a good boy." And it's been a really cool relationship with him. Ever since then, I've been coming down, and he's so psyched. It's awesome.
That's my favourite, by the way. Obelix.
Yeah, that was actually like a photo of a real guy's chest that works for Rippy in France. It was pretty gross.
How good is it to have a company like Rip Curl back here and be able to do that kind of fun stuff?
Yeah, it's amazing. Those wetsuits were so much fun, and I don't know, I got so much, especially in Europe, the support over here, I think a lot because of them has been pretty crazy. They're so psyched, and it's so cool to have people that'll support you when you want to do something weird, and what I think was super fun.
That was really fun. Can we bring it back? Are you allowed to?
I want to.
Let's do this.
I don't know.
Let's get some new
bring it
ideas
back.
going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we've got more to come on this Dawn Patrol show. Wilco, you mind hanging out?
No worries.
One more segment to come with Matt Wilkinson. We'll be right back here at the Mosh Rip Curl Pro Peniche for Dawn Patrol right after this. Good morning and welcome back to Dawn Patrol here for the Mosh Rip Curl Pro. We're in the beautiful little city of Peniche and the contest is off. You can tell it's really flat, but we're anticipating Really good things to come later in the week. Joe Turpel with former world champ Martin Potter, and hanging in there with us, currently 17th in the world, Matt Wilkinson, maybe with the best hair on tour at the moment. Wilco, this big part of the Rip Curl program is this something called the Search campaign. I remember watching the old movies with Tom Curran back in the day, but we also got to see it introduced on the championship tour level, going to secret spots and getting to perform. What's the Search whole idea meant to you in your career?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've been with Rip Curl for like 15 years, and when I was a grom, I was watching search videos of all the older guys, Tom Curran and Hedgie and stuff, just doing crazy trips to places that I'd never seen before, and I was like, whoa, I want to go there, I want to do this. And then as I grew up, I got to live the dream, and I've been doing search trips forever, and they've just reintroduced it, and this year I've got to do a few really cool trips, and I don't know, it's a funnest thing to do in the world, to go and find new waves with your mates, and you either score and end up getting the best waves of your life, or if not, you just have crazy adventures and stuff goes wrong, and I don't know, but it's always good fun. When you finish, you're just so stoked.
So exciting. Well, let's get a chance to find out a little bit more about the relaunch of the Search program.
What was that?
Oh my gosh.
Talking to our friends. Come on, hey, come on, church, can't you tell us where you've been? Come on, church, come on, echo, come on, put me on your screen. There's no need to pretend, 'cause you know we'll never listen, and we'll do it all again. Come on, hey, come on, church, can't you tell us where you've been? Come on, church, come on, echo, come on, put me on your screens.
What an epic campaign, the Search program that keeps us dreaming to find perfect waves around the world. Matty Wilkinson, you had a recent Search mission with Owen Wright. What was really memorable about that strike mission?
Yeah, that was a super fun trip. We had it was to a really cold place, and it probably wasn't as dreamy as some of the Search trips to the tropics, but it's like a lot harder work. But then when you find perfect waves, they're perfect waves, and I don't know, it was really cool. We were driving a lot and freezing cold, and we were sometimes getting so eggy, and then we'd rock up and get barreled and come in and be so psyched. So
I mean, apart from having fun, is it kind of like like a sparring partner trip too? I mean, with Owen, using it as, not just play but a bit of work as well?
Yeah, for sure. You getting to surf with Owen, and I guess he'll catch a wave, and then you'll catch a wave, and then you'll watch him get one, and if he's done something that looked better than what felt like you did, you gotta like, all right, I gotta step it up a bit. And definitely in tubes, Owen's one of the best in the world, and to kind of watch him take off and just kind of mimic his style was definitely good for my surfing.
Now, the remainder of the year, obviously, we've got Portugal and Pipe. What's your goal? I mean, 17th at the moment. What are you looking for towards the end of this year?
My goal was to the top 10 at the start of the year, and the group of us between 17th and 10th are all fairly tight. So I think if I can get a little roll going and maybe make the final series here and then see what happens at Pipe. I'd still definitely love to finish in the top 10.
Epic goals. Matt, thanks so much for being with us on the Dawn Patrol show. We hope we can come in every morning from now on throughout the contest. And
Yeah.
a couple
We'll
big
see.
messages. Bring back the suits. #bring it back, Wilco. And we'll hopefully get the search back on board as well.